To add and subtract algebraic fractions, if the denominators are the same in the algebraic fraction, we simply add or subtract the numerators. If the denominators are different, we rewrite each fraction with the lowest common denominator, then add or subtract the numerators. For our examples, we have simplify 3x on 7 plus x on 7. What we need to do is we need to make sure that the denominators are the same before we can add or subtract the numerators. Because our denominators are the same here and they are 7, what we want to do is we want to add the numerators of 3x plus x all over 7. Now 3x plus x is 4x over our denominator of 7. For 1b, we want to simplify 9m on 2 minus 8m on 2. Again, we need to check that our denominators are the same in order to add or subtract the numerators. We have denominators of 2 and they are the same, so that means that we can subtract our numerators, and we have 9m minus 8m all over the same denominator of 2. Now, 9m minus 8m is 1m over 2, or we can write this as m over 2. For C, we have 2a on 3 plus 3a on 5. Now, you'll notice that our denominators are currently not the same. What we need to do is multiply the first fraction by the opposite denominator of 5 and multiply the second fraction by the opposite denominator of 3. So what we're going to write is 5 times our 2a, which is our numerator, over 5 times our denominator of 3, plus we will go 3 times our numerator of 3a over 3 times our denominator of 5. Now when we do this, 5 times 2a is 10a over our denominator of 5 times 3, which is 15, plus our numerator of 3 times 3a is 9a over our denominator of 3 times 5, which is 15. Now that we have our denominators the same, what we can do is we can add our numerators together. So we'll have our numerator to be 10a plus 9a over 15. Now 10a plus 9a is 19a over 15. Moving on to example D, we have 6n on 7 minus 2n on 3. What we want to do is check whether our denominators are the same, and they are currently not the same. To make them the same, we multiply the first fraction by the opposite denominator of 3, and then we multiply the second fraction by the opposite denominator of 7. So we will have 3 times our fraction of 6n, or our numerator of 6n, over 3 times our denominator of 7, minus 7 times our numerator of 2n over 7 times our denominator of 3. Now, 3 times 6n is 18n over 3 times 7 is 21, minus 7 times 2n is 14n over our denominator of 7 times 3, which is 21. This will then equal, because we have the same denominators, we can then subtract our numerators. So 18n minus 14n over our denominator of 21, where 18n minus 14n is 4n over 21. Lucky last, for example E, we have 7p on 12 minus 3p on 8. Now again, our denominators are not the same. So what we want to do is we want to multiply by the opposite denominator. So we're going to multiply that first fraction by 8 and that second fraction by 12. So we'll write 8 times 7p over 8 times 12 minus 12 times 3p over 12 times 8. Now what this equals is 8 times 7p is 56p over 8 times 12 is 96 minus 12 times 3p is 36p over 12 times 8 is 96. Now that we have the same denominator, we can subtract our numerator. So when we do this, we'll have 56p minus 36p over 96. So 56p minus 36p is 20p over 96. And then what we want to do is, because this is a huge fraction, we want to check to see whether we can simplify the denominator. So we want to check if we can simplify the fraction. How we do this is we put into our calculator the fraction 20 over 96. And what happens is that fraction actually simplifies down to be 5 over 24. And we put our p back in our numerator. Now what you're going to do is you are going to do the worksheet that looks like so. Oh, not that one yet. You're going to do this worksheet, and it steps you through how to do each question. This first column here says to work on the top row only, because they all have the same denominator. Then what we have is we want to simplify. So you want to use your calculator for the rest of this column. Then you want to complete some equivalent algebraic fractions by putting, what do you multiply 5 by to get 10? So you multiply by 2, so you must multiply the numerator there by 2, and you'd get something like 6c. Then you want to use equivalent fractions to solve these equations which have different denominators. So we have a on 4 plus a on 2. So you want to multiply this whole fraction by 2, so we get the denominator of 4. So 2 times 2 is the 4, and then we have to go 2 times a is 2a, and then you want to add them together. So a plus 2a is 3a all over 4. That is the rest of that column. Then you want to find the lowest common multiple and then simplify in order to solve those. If you finish that in time, I then want you to have a go at question 1 in your booklet on page 14. Have a go at question 1 and question 2 for me.